At She Can, we tell women's stories. We show how women got to where they are today to be role models for others. And we have women of all ages, all races, all backgrounds. And I'm really excited to talk to Abigail Copeland today. Abigail, welcome to She Can. You're a third year student at the University of California, Berkeley, and you're the incoming graduate student at the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies. You're the founder and president of Women on Wall Street at Berkeley, and you also are a program support specialist at the 100 Women in Finance. And you have been a course instructor on global financial markets, and you are an incoming summer analyst at Morgan Stanley. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and your passion for the financial world.
Yeah, well, first of all, Stephanie, I just wanted to thank you so much for having me on here today. I really appreciate the opportunity to not only meet you, but connect. So happy to introduce myself. So as you said, my name is Abigail Copeland, and I am currently a third-year student at the University of California, Berkeley, majoring in Chinese language and literature. I'm actually graduating from university a year early, so exactly 1 month from today. I'll be graduating in 3 years, and I'm also an incoming student as well at the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies. So I will be doing a 1 year program next year in China, which is completely taught in Chinese, which I'm really excited about. My background, as you spoke to, is somewhat multifaceted. So one of my first primary passions is definitely studying Mandarin. And I've been studying Chinese for the past 9 years now. It's something that I'm very passionate about. I also previously have a lot of experience working for the US government. I spent 6 months working for the United States Department of Commerce, where I researched Chinese financial markets for them. But more recently, I really made the decision that I want to pursue finance. So this past summer, I worked for Standard Chartered Bank, which is an emerging markets focused bank, and I worked on their trading floor in New York. I'm very excited this summer to work on the fixed income trading floor at Morgan Stanley. But really, what I'm the most excited to talk with you about today is my passion for gender equity within finance. As you said, I founded Women on Wall Street at Berkeley and currently serve as the president of it. I'm a former Girls Who Invest scholar, and I also am very involved with 100 Women in Finance as well.
Abigail, so tell us a little bit more about your Women on Wall Street at Berkeley. What is it all about?
Yeah, really happy to talk more about that. So basically, I guess the way that I, explain it to people and begin to tell the story of how it was created is that on paper, I was, I think, a very unlikely candidate to get into finance. I'm a Chinese language and literature major. Berkeley, doesn't offer a finance or accounting degree, so most of my classes are about pre-modern Chinese novels, and we, analyze and do critical literary analysis. So, definitely not finance related. I've also spent the past 10 years living in the Midwest in a pretty small town. My parents aren't in the industry, and obviously I'm a woman as well, which plays another role in just kind of my likelihood of breaking into finance. But really, at the beginning of my sophomore year of college, I realized I was very interested in finance. More specifically, I've always loved markets and really reading the news and keeping up with global financial markets. So I decided that I want to work on the trading floor and work within sales and trading, which is definitely one of the most fast-paced, intense areas within finance. Very stressful, but something that I find to be super interesting. So I, was recruiting for a job in finance at Berkeley. I was talking to a lot of different people, and obviously being a woman within finance is so difficult. But interestingly enough, what I found is that within the industry, I've had really wonderful interactions with people, had a lot of both male and female supporters as well. But the most sort of issues I've experienced that have to do with my gender as related to finance have been on my college campus.
Mm,
And Berkeley is a very progressive university, but the one area that I think was overlooked for a long time was the amount of women interested in finance.
mm,
So for 155 years, we were one of the only major universities in the US that didn't have a finance organization for women. And it's not that there were not women who were interested in finance. I spoke with a lot of my friends who were all very passionate. It's just everyone was sort of too scared to found an organization and kind of break the mold because there's a lot of other finance clubs on campus, just they're mostly male dominated. So I really decided after I worked on the trading floor this past summer that I sort of had a moral obligation to create Women on Wall Street at Berkeley. So it's the first club for women in finance independent to Berkeley, in Berkeley's 155-year history. And it's also currently the largest finance club on campus with over 105 plus members. So we really just encourage a culture of inclusivity, generosity, and support. And it's been a really wonderful experience so far.
I am delighted to hear that this is the biggest finance club, Abigail, because then you really did something that obviously has real enormous demand and will change the status quo. Abigail, the thing that I'm quite disheartened about is to hear that you think that the financial industry is still very difficult for women, and especially your generation thinking that. Abigail, so tell us a bit more, the Women on Wall Street. What do you do with that club? You meet, how often do you invite speakers? How does it work?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a bit of a niche thing, I should say, to explain. So Berkeley is a very large public university with over 45,000 students. There is a lot of demand. It's super competitive, but a limited amount of resources because it's a public university. So I think there's thousands of student organizations on campus, and most of the business and finance related clubs on campus are very competitive. So they will have 5 rounds of interviews to get into. They make you do a written application, a social round. You have to dress up in a full suit. Most of these clubs champion a sort of sub 10% acceptance rate. So very quickly, I realized that, if I want to generate positive change and help lift up, especially younger women in their college years in finance, that this club needed to be 100% inclusive, which is sounds very normal, but is actually quite rare in the Berkeley sort of student organization ecosystem, just because we have a lot of people, and it's just a very competitive environment, especially because it's located in the San Francisco Bay Area. So what I'm really happy about is that we have 100% acceptance rate. We welcome absolutely everyone. We have people who are going to work for Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, and we have people who know nothing about finance, of all ages, of all majors, of all backgrounds, which is really wonderful. So we accept absolutely everyone. And I really am so grateful to be joined by a very passionate executive board of fellow women who are helping me run and organize the club. Not only are they working for different firms across, different asset classes and parts of finance, from the West to the East Coast, but they also are doing really different areas of finance and have different backgrounds. So it's great. We really are covering a wide breadth of areas. So we meet every 2 weeks, and we encourage people just to kind of come when they can and come as their schedule permits. We're very kind of relaxed in terms of forcing, engagement and attendance, and really want people to get the most that they can out of the experience. And one thing that's been really exciting to do is to contact different firms around the country, financial firms, and ask them to come recruit from our club. So we've established relationships with a lot of very selective hedge funds, a lot of very competitive banks, and I've asked them to, fly out to Berkeley and recruit with us. And we've developed a lot of exclusive job opportunities and recruitment events for members of our club. So actually, dozens of women so far have gotten jobs through the organization, and really really have given me very kind feedback that, before joining the club, they didn't think they had a seat at the table in finance. And then they realized, their true calling in life is to be an investment banker or a trader. And, these hedge funds, these banks have come out and recruited women from the club and really seen the values in our members. So we have speaker events, we have educational events. And then in addition to that, I really champion a strong culture of mentorship. So I have a complete open door policy and provide as much support to these younger women as I can, and women my own age as well. So I'm often up late at night, sort of editing resumes, giving people advice. And that's just very much the culture that I'm really happy to have cultivated, and really hope that younger members will pass that down in the future as well.
Abigail, it's so inspiring to listen to you because you seem to be breaking so many of these walls that, your institution, Berkeley, has set up, which is really refreshing. Tell us what your main motivator is, Abigail. You're obviously an incredibly bright woman who has an incredibly bright future. What is your main motivator with breaking down so many walls and saying, no, this is not how it goes? We want everyone to be able to join. We are getting people to recruit from our pool of women that are passionate about finance, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, previously, when I was in high school and at the beginning of my college career, I always knew that, women face so many different challenges in life, especially in more competitive industries. But it's something that's really hard to understand unless you witness it firsthand. So it really took that experience and the struggle of breaking in and, being the only woman in the room, and, working on the trading floor, and, feeling that energy and working, on the street to really understand why this was important. So that's something that I really believe it's hard to get it unless you've actually experienced it firsthand, and then when you do, everything just clicks. But I would say that I'm a relatively moral person, so I just feel that it was really my moral commitment to do this and start this organization. I am really inspired to create change in my own small, humble way. And I just felt a moral obligation as someone in a, I guess, quote unquote, position of power, so to speak. And that I mean, having a summer internship in finance, to really pass down my knowledge to younger members and younger women, and just really make them feel like, if I'm a Chinese major from the Midwest, that you can study anything, you can be from any background, and you can still work in finance. There's so many different opportunities within the industry. And they really, which is interesting, and a lot of people my age don't believe this, but welcome diverse backgrounds. And they've been actually very supportive of my decision to study Chinese. So I really just want to inspire people, and have them feel confident that they can get a job. They, have the ability to handle the world's capital, which is really exciting. And I just think it's really important to help more diverse people of different backgrounds handle the world's money. And that's something that I feel very strongly about.
Yeah. Abigail, I think that, especially with everything that women have been promoting and advancing in the last years, the thing that really comes out is that if we want real power, we have to be able, A, to handle our own finances and to be able to make money. Now, to make money, you have to come up with innovative ideas or work your way up in companies. So you need to be paid the same as men, and you need to be invested in, right? And the VC industry only gives 2% to women right now. I'm wondering if the women and girls in your courses, are they put off by the finance industry still in this day and age because it's a predominantly male environment?
Yeah, that's a good question. And that's something that I've definitely been discussing with a lot of people, and a stigma that I think we're really working to kind of reduce or break. So I haven't looked at the numbers in a little while, but I believe that the statistic of the amount of women who work in the financial services industry is somewhere within, around 40%. That being said, I don't know how they're accounting these numbers, statistically, their methods, how they're doing this, because the definition of finance can be very broad. Do you work in insurance? Do you work at a bank? Do you work in an investment bank? So there's sort of, a gray area on how I think they're doing these numbers. But I can say from personal experience that, on places such as the trading floor, there are very few women traders, especially, the more quantitative you get, the more high pressure you get, and the more you go up the sort of banking hierarchy, the less women you see. But that being said, I am happy that every single day I feel like the world just gets a little bit better. Banks, I think, are really beginning to realize that diversity is incredibly important, but I definitely am seeing younger women very intimidated. And, my personal belief, just based off of my experiences, is that obviously working in the industry is very difficult, but I really think that a lot of inequity and discouragement of women pursuing finance starts nowadays on hyper competitive college campuses, particularly more selective colleges. So that's been my personal belief, because a lot of women have told me that they love numbers, they love markets, they love finance. But if it's anything like the culture that we're seeing within sort of this Berkeley microcosm, they don't want to pursue it. And I keep having to tell them that it's so much different when you actually get to New York or you actually work in the industry than it is on campus. So I think that that's a major problem we're still dealing with. And it's just really sad that women who are 19, 20, 21 are being prevented from pursuing their dreams and working in the industry due to their peers who are discouraging them. And I think it's a big problem that I'm trying to do my humble part to solve.
Abigail, and I totally agree. And I think that these employers have a lot more work to do to change the workplace to accommodate women. And so women don't have to only work in an environment that's really been designed by men for men. Abigail, so what top qualities do you think you have that will serve you working in that industry?
Yeah, I think that probably perhaps my best quality, or quality I've worked really hard to cultivate over the years, has just been my self-starting nature. Very much over my lifetime, I'm a firm believer that opportunities are never handed to you, but you have to go out and make your own opportunities, build your own network, your own connections from the ground up, and that's really been kind of the backstory behind everything I can, nowadays put on my resume. So I always tell people, when you submit a job application, it's not that they're gonna, unfortunately, they're not gonna see your resume and recognize your merit. You have to go out and make those connections and really fight for what you want. So I think that, over the years, I've just realized, especially at a school as big as Berkeley with 45,000 people, that you really have to go out and create your own opportunities. So I've definitely say just being a self-starter.
Yeah, which is incredibly difficult. I've visited Berkeley 2 years ago and I was blown away just how big it is. It's a town. So just to be able to survive in that massive system, I think is already an incredible achievement. Abigail, so give us some top tips for a younger women such as yourself starting out in this business.
The biggest tip that I would perhaps say is just the power of having a network. I think a lot of younger women are intimidated by this kind of concept of, the boys' club, or the power and the network that men have. But what I think a lot of people don't realize is you can have that as a woman as well. You just sort of have to create it for yourself. So I have really witnessed firsthand the power of what networking can do for you. And I've had many wonderful allies and mentors who are both male and female within the industry have really advocated for me and been incredibly supportive. But it's really important that you have to go out and make those connections. So I always, just try to talk with as many people as I can. Just always, be kind and respectful to people, maintain connections. And, it doesn't matter if you're introverted or extroverted, there's kind of different ways to approach networking. But really, I think the power of networking can really lift you up and help you advance career wise, no matter sort of the hand that you've been dealt at birth when it comes to gender or other factors that may impact your success.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant tip, Abigail. And I always think the thing that we underestimate and I think often don't realize until later is that we work with other humans and the relationships and the communities we form, that ultimately is our platform. And that platform is going to make us work really well or not well. So it really is paramount what you just said. Abigail, so I'm wondering, what are you most proud of to date?
That's a great question. When I think about that question, I don't think a single accomplishment comes to mind. I'm equally proud of everything I've worked on, but I think, to my point earlier, I'm probably the most proud of my self-starting nature. And to your point about sort of surviving at Berkeley, I just think that over the years, I've worked on a lot of really exciting things, and I've definitely been proud of the work I've done. But kind of reflecting back at my college career, especially now that I'm graduating so soon, I'm just really proud of my ability to have created my own opportunities and build my own organizations and cultures such as Women on Wall Street, and really contacting people and making new connections. So probably just my self-starting nature and ability to kind of build things from the ground up, and that's something that I really hope to continue to be able to do in the future.
You sound like a real entrepreneur to me, Abigail. Tell me your goals and plans. We know that you're going to go to China for a year as part of this Berkeley program. What are your plans for the next couple of years? Where do you see the journey going?
Yeah, so I have a couple of major moves up ahead, a lot of crazy things happening. So I graduate college in a month from now. And then after that, I'll be home for about a week or so, 2 weeks. And then I have to go to New York, where I'll be working at Morgan Stanley on their trading floor, which I'm very excited about. Then I moved to China for a whole year to go to grad school. And while I'm there, I'm hoping to not only travel around China, but perhaps Asia as well, really, brush up on my Chinese skills. And then I hope to, return full time to New York to hopefully work in finance. And, time will tell where I end up. But I definitely see myself in a sales and trading markets facing role. So that's something I'm very excited to pursue. I definitely see myself in the finance industry just because I'm so passionate about markets for several years to come. But my commitment to gender equity within finance is something that I don't want to go away anytime soon. And just from seeing the positive feedback about women on Wall Street at Berkeley, this is something that I definitely considered expanding to other schools and expanding beyond Berkeley, which I'm definitely hoping to work on in the near future.
Yeah, that sounds great. Abigail, so who are your role models? Who are the people that inspire and motivate you?
That's a good question as well. I definitely think a lot of different people inspire and motivate me. This might be kind of cliche, but probably just my immediate family members, especially my mom as well. She's been such a huge supporter of mine, and she's really just helped encourage and support me my whole entire lifetime. But she, I think, really taught me the importance of just to keep working no matter what happens. And she, has told me that things are not over until they're over, and there's always another chance, and there's always the ability to, create your own opportunities. So she's absolutely the first person who comes to mind for sure.
Abigail, thank you so much for telling us all the incredible things you've already up to, and we're really excited to see what's happening for you in the future.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking with you.